my question to you would be, if you never get to a point where you like want to remarry or marry her, or you just remarry, period, are you okay with her walking away out your life and you being single for the rest of your life? That's true. You can't read minds. That's one thing my father taught me. He said, I can't. I'm not a mind reader. You can't expect somebody to read your mind. If it's not directed, it does not exist. Does not exist. Yeah, like, and for me it's similar. Like, I'm like, they get paid when they get paid, you know, like, but my wife not like that. So for me, I had to relinquish that. I let her take care of the bills, like, like, cause that's her strong suit. Like, so for like what I realized, just to backtrack a little bit, like, I realized the way I see people and the way I view life is different than most people, because I realized that we all messed up. We all got issues. Like, every single person you meet has issues. We all came from a dysfunctional family. Nobody's perfect. So, but you may not have that issue, but you got this one. So with that being said, is that you have to give grace, because if you just look at yourself and all the stuff that you was wrong about and came up short on and just didn't keep your word to, just whether it was intentional or not, you fell short. So it's really, I tell people all the time, you gotta embrace the grace, because if you don't, you missing out on life, because nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. So for me, I'm like, okay, well, you right. Like, what? So, like, to your point, my wife and I, we created an ebook. Like, 6 months into our marriage, I was like, man, I don't know if I did the right thing. You know, like I knew I heard God tell me this is what I was supposed to do. She was my assignment, but I was second guessing it, because I'm like, I don't know. So I picked up a book somebody gifted us. It said a marriage survival book. And I opened it up, and it was put the money in here so you can go on this trip. It wasn't nothing of substance. So that led my wife and I to create an ebook. We titled it "Things I Wish I Knew Before Getting Married." And it is different topics on different situations, scenarios that we faced in our marriage in like the first 8 months. And it was the issue, it was what I thought, it was what she thought, and it was our solution. That's how the book is written. And because I realized, like, she grew up differently than I grew up. And like, just because she's saying it differently don't make her wrong, and vice versa. And I realized we both could be right. Because one day we was arguing, we had a heated argument. And we was arguing so long, and when I realized we was both arguing, we both was right. We was so busy arguing to be right, we was arguing two different arguments, and we both was right. We wasn't even hearing ourselves. And when I got to a point where I'm like, let me listen to you, and I'm like, oh, you right. And then when she realized what my argument was, she's like, you right too. And that's when, like, it clicked for us, like, what are we doing? And I'm like, well, but this is, no, we don't have a blueprint for this. So we just going off what we know. So I'm like, well, let us not, if we okay with being vulnerable and open enough to share our life, let's put it in a book so these people that's up under us, or even the people that's above us, that's been married longer, can fix some of their solutions. Some of their issues can now have a solution for it. Because most people don't talk about the issues, they just deal with it. I'm like, and if we could package this into a $20, $30 book, and then save people $1,000 on marriage counseling, because it's really real life examples, real life situations with real life solutions that you can take and really better your situation, then it was worth it for us to go through those situations so that we can help these people. And that's what we did. And I got to a point where I'm like, there's nothing off the table that we won't talk about so that we can help the next person. Because at the end of the day, we good. Like, she ain't going nowhere, I ain't going nowhere. It's really my best friend. So I'm like, if we already made it through those issues and it's behind us, then let's share it with these people so that they can get help. Because ultimately, nobody's really talking about their situation. Everybody's perfect. Nobody have issues. It's just what you see on social media. You know, everybody lives highlight reel, and that's not the truth. We have issues. We had issues. Let's talk about those issues and how we overcame them. Because if nobody, I realize like this in real estate, if one client has an issue, then that issue might present itself in 10, 12 other clients down the line. They need a question answered. That question is going to be answered by multiple people. It's the same thing with everything else. If one person has an issue, then it's 100,000, 200,000 people with that same issue. They're just not talking about it. So that's where we came up with the solution for our book. And we just really want to be vessels to help, like ultimately that's our main goal, is to really just help people, honestly, in whichever way possible. Like I told you with your Dave Cave, like here, like don't matter to me. Like I just want to help. Like I'll share my story or any other way of me thinking to anybody that maybe help get them an alternative way of looking at a situation. His whole life story, and part of me had believed it for a time, but I realized like, no, you just chose wrong. Like you made a mistake, and now you like living with the mistakes for the rest of your life. Even though you got kids, you don't have a relationship, but I one of the three, and it was like it's so much entangled into it. And I'm like, man, it's so unfortunate that you had to go through that, But like, she showed signs. In his case, I'm like, she had to show some type of signs to, if other people on the planet, if the union store knew your situation was going on and you didn't know, that means you wasn't paying attention or something, But it's unfortunate. My wife taught me. She said you teach people how to treat you, and if whatever you accept is how they're going to treat you. So whenever you walk in a room, whether it's a relationship, any type of relationship, however you present yourself is how they're going to treat you. So you treat yourself with the utmost respect. They have no choice but to do the exact same. And I took that in every room I walked in. I truly believe when they say God is omnipresent and He knows the beginning from the end, and He created He's all present at the same time. It changes the way that I see life, because I'm like, if I'm going through this, then why? Like my number one question I ask myself is why. Like with everything in life is why. It's a reason for it. So that led me to like how I talked about me being around my neighbor and hearing like his story. Like I say, okay, I asked myself, why am I hearing this? So that let me know like if choosing wrong can lead me to this, because he talks about how he had child support payments for all three kids, how they were still staying with him, he's still paying child support. So that let me know from an early age what choosing the wrong person or being with the wrong person can make your life look like. It could turn you bitter, it could turn you to a place of loneliness, because he did not allow no one to be in his house. He's been in his house by himself for like the last 45 years. So for me, I'm like, I don't want this type of life. But it allowed me to learn through somebody else's mess on what not to do. And I take that, I believe that there's a lesson everyone can teach someone. So like that told me what not to do. So when I look at the word wife, like it goes hand in hand with me, synonymous with life. It's like life with a woman in it. And outside of building a relationship with God, that was like the next thing that you can do is make sure you choose the right one. And I say choose loosely because I really believe that your wife really is assigned to you. I believe that you can pick and you still can pick wrong. But I believe like if you really, because I believe that we all spirits is in the body. So I believe like if your spirit chooses this person, then that's the one you're supposed to be with. Of course you need to be attracted to him, but I think it's more than physical, because as we can see, and especially in our culture now, like you could go buy a body, and be whatever magazine model you want to be, but like I believe you gotta be more than physical. You gotta have a mind, you gotta have a brain, like you have to be able to use it, and I believe as men, we should study ourselves more before we go into a relationship, because we now know what we can tolerate, what we will accept, what we need, and what we will want. And I think when we as men are in a situation where we trying to find ourselves or feel like we need somebody to complete us is when we are most vulnerable, and where we can let things slide or some things just not be in the forefront of what we should be focusing on because of the lack that we focusing on within ourselves, the gap that's missing. As we know, like when you give a woman something, she makes it greater, whether it's sperm to a baby, groceries to a meal, or a house to a home. So or either a whole lot of crap to a whole lot of shit. You know, like it's whatever you give her, she gonna make it better. So what I realized in my situation was that I needed to fully trust my partner, because I understand she my life partner, so I'm supposed to do life with. And I realized at one point I was doing myself a disservice by not opening up fully into all of the ways that she could fully help me. And I looked at it as taking an open book test, and I need to know the definitions for a term, and I'm scrolling through the chapters trying to find the definition instead of flipping all the way to the back of the book to the glossary and get the help. Because having the right partner is really a cheat code to life, because that's who God ordained you to do life with. Then there's no reason why you should not open up fully to this person. And like we spoke earlier about communication, it's pivotal. Without communication, everything is going to fall apart, because there is no way that you can articulate what needs to be said if the person isn't not hearing you. So it's best to get on one accord with whomever you're talking to. And for me, I share this story often, it came a point in my relationship where I used to tell my wife, you're not saying what you think you're saying. And she would say, no, I am. I'm like, no, you're not. And the lesson was learned through going to the grocery store. So my wife asked me, she said, hey, I need you to go to the store and get some apples. Now, Honey Crisp are my favorite apples. And so when she said go to the store and get some apples, the first thing on my mind is go get some Honey Crisp apples. So I go get the apples, come back to the house, sit them on the counter. She come downstairs like, hey babe, where the apples? I'm like, they on the counter. She said, these ain't what I asked you to get. I said, you told me to go get some apples. She said, well, no, I wanted some Granny Smith apples, because she cutting up Granny Smiths and put them in a salad. I'm like, well, you ain't say that. She was like, oh, and it really hit her because she did not say that. And I'm like, I've been telling you all this time, you don't say what you think you're saying. And at that moment, it registered that she finally understood that she wasn't communicating properly, and we got on one accord to where we were able to talk to each other. I am to repeat back what I heard, and until what she says and what I repeat back matches, we are not on one accord. And this has helped us tremendously, because now we understand that we are here. So now if she asks me to go to the store and get some Granny Smith apples, and I come back with Honey Crisp, that means I now have to take full accountability for me not doing what she asked me to do. And that there had changed gave a whole shift into our marriage, because now we were able to really truly get on one accord when it came to communicating. And I share that with a lot of people, because something that simple was able to really transcend our marriage into a whole new light, because now we could fully communicate. Because now when I say, hey babe, I don't think that's what you mean, it don't come with frustration. To come with, okay, well, let me clarify, let me use more words to maybe make sure I'm articulating exactly what I need to say. So me understanding that women were put on this earth to be helpmates, and I as a man had to allow myself to allow my wife to truly help me, because I think as men it's hard for us to do that, because we are supposed to be the everything, the head, and it's okay for a woman to, especially your wife, the one that you say for better or for worse, for all of these vows that you took to be with this woman, that you allow her, because it's no longer you and her, it's one. So until you allow yourself to really truly be one with your partner, then you're really not doing the marriage in the way it was meant to be done in the first place. Because from the very beginning, God gave Adam and Eve, because he was cultivating everything else he was supposed to be doing, but he still needed help. So as men, we got to understand that there's nothing wrong with accepting help, especially when it does not come with strings attached. It just comes with, because ultimately what my wife had to teach me was that her life is connected to mine and mine is connected to hers. Even though I know that as being married, but I needed a reminder, because if I'm withholding something, or don't feel like she don't need to know, I'll take care of it. That's not fair on her part, because just because I think I got a solution does not mean it's the best solution. B, just because I got a solution don't mean that it's gonna work at all. Or she can skip 3 steps ahead. Like, women intuition stuff, like, it's real. Like, and when I really learned that, and I said, okay, well, let me not withhold nothing, because it's kind of like she know already, because she know me so well. She know my body language. She know my tone of voice. Like, there's no reason. I'm really only playing myself at this point. So I got to a point where I started to understand the way, because I didn't grow up seeing a healthy marriage, healthy relationships. That wasn't a part of my life. So for me, I had to learn how to do this with my partner. Her similar, same situation, grew up in a single parent household. So like, we were doing this together on our own, trying to figure it out. And once we started to figure out things that we realized help people that were in 10, 12, 15-year relationships, and we was 6 months in, we was like, oh, we got something here. Let's continue to cultivate this and grow this so that we can be better. Because if these people that, I don't know how they've been operating for 12, 15 years, if this stuff we learning in 6 months is something that they were on the verge of getting a divorce for, and we able to help save their marriage for that, then let's continue to talk all our problems out. Let's continue to be each other's best friend. Let's continue to work everything through, because at the end of the day, there is nobody else. Like, I got to a point, like, I was reading scripture, reading Proverbs, and it's talk about how you shouldn't really you should really fight the temptation, because you being married and going to go outside your marriage is really a detriment to your life, for real, because it's gonna change everything that what you know it to be. I said, I don't want no parts of that. Like, I'm gonna give all my full love, time, energy, and effort over here, to where I know I can continue to cultivate this grass, continue to get greener as we grow. I'm going to continue to do that, because I understand it's only green when you water it. I don't want nothing else over here, because it serves me no purpose. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my assignment here as this woman, to help her grow and become the best version of herself, so she can ultimately grow our family. That's what I want to do over here. And that's what I've been learning how to do, and when choosing the right person. Because when you pick wrong, you got to deal with child support payments, maybe not seeing your kids, alimony, just a whole life that you didn't. If you knew that was on the back end of that, you wouldn't even made the decision in the first place to do what you did. So I've been very conscious on that. I've been very conscious on trying to spread this message, because even I realized that the younger generation that may hear this, they are more comfortable with getting a woman pregnant and having a kid than committing to a marriage, because they feel as though they could just work without the woman and have a kid. But I'm like, if you really look at it from just a logic standpoint, the kid is more permanent than a marriage in today's society, because you can get divorced as many times as you want, but the kid gonna be here forever. So that whole logic and thinking to me did not make sense. And I've been working to spread this message to really help change the people's mindset on understanding that most women need help. Because if you look at us, like, as men, well, from my standpoint, in my community, I grew up, a lot of people single parent household, grew up with just your mom. So if as a man I only grew up with just my mom in the household, how many women grew up with just their mom in the household and not a father figure? So I realized that most women in this generation don't even know how to talk to a man, because they never had a man they like to really show them respect, and have to show them respect and really understand how it is to learn how to talk to a man. So I go into situations with grace, because how can I expect a woman to do this when she was never taught it? Yes, she may be 25, yes, she may be 30, yes, she may be 50, but if she was never taught how to really properly respect a man, she don't know how. So unless you are committed to saying, giving her grace and having patience with her, and say, because she the one, this part she missing, it may be your job to help her understand that, because she never was taught it. And it's a lot of women out here like that, and that's why a lot of them single, because they don't know how to talk to a man. They just don't know how to respect him, because they was never taught it. So I don't know if us as men can do a better job of maybe teaching. I know it's not our job. Yes, they should have had their father, but that's not the circumstance situation in which they've been in. They don't have them. So if we could say, hey, baby, like, excuse me, man, I didn't mean it like that. What I meant was, because they really feel like they being attacked. As like women feel like when men talk to them, they talk to them from an attacking place, and they're always on the defense. And when you just come at them and say, hey, like, I wasn't speaking to you like that. What I was saying was this. Get them some grace and just get them more clarity so that they can hear, because they only hear one way, and they really only hear based upon what their mama been telling them their entire life, that men ain't shit. So, like, if they got that filter on their ears, there's no way that they gonna really hear you for where you're coming from, because it's a filter on their ears. So we can maybe change the way we come off. I don't know, like maybe with a little bit more grace, or if we could just be more patient with them. Don't engage in the argument or the loudness of when they go there, because ultimately you got the right to decide that I'm not gonna raise my voice when I talk to this woman, even though she getting loud with me, because that's just a defense mechanism that they throw up. So keep your same temper level, just keep your same energy, and say, hey, all right, now you off that high, come back to reality, and we can have this conversation again. I think if men are more patient with women as well, and be more communicative and actually articulating what it is that you want and fully, that we can have better relationships overall. And I'm open to hearing you guys' suggestions and just, continue this conversation.